Gymnastics. It's about discipline, dedication, and determination. A serious sport for serious athletes until now.
All the girls walk by dressed up for each other, and the boys do the boogie woogie on the corner of the street, and the people passing by staring wide wonder, and the inside jukebox goes out just like thunder, and everything looks so complete when you walk out on the street, got the wind catching your feet, send you flying, flying. Ooh, hey. Wild night is calling.
Welcome to the Pacific Northwest in Portland, Oregon. We're at the Rose Garden for the 1996 Reese's International Gymnastics Cup. Hello, everyone. I'm Andrea Joyce. Thanks for joining us on the CBS Sports Show. We have a special treat in store for you today, gymnastics with a real twist. Now, in this professional competition, the strict guidelines of the sport are tossed out the window, replaced by costumes, music, dramatic lighting, and choreography. The end result, pure entertainment and pure fun. And joining me for this broadcast, 1984 Olympic gold medalist Julianne McNamara and Peter Vidmar. And Peter, despite the whimsical atmosphere here, we really do have some serious athletes competing, world-class athletes.
We do, and yet it's a very fun way to take the edge off of what is a very pressure-packed year with the Olympics coming up so soon. And many of America's top male gymnasts are here, including John Roethlisberger. He's the USA's best. And John usually wins with very consistent, well-executed performances, and yet he's judged under entirely different criteria. And so it'll be fun to see him add some humor to his presentations. He's going to be doing some interesting things. The international field is well represented with gymnasts like Dmitry Belozerchev. He's a legend in our sport. In fact, he's probably the most elegant and artistic gymnast I've ever seen. It'll be fun to see him use those traits in an event as freeform as this one.
And he will need those traits. And as far as the women go, Julianne, their Olympic glory days are really behind them. What's the attraction, the appeal for an event like this?
Well, the emphasis is placed on the artistry of gymnastics. It's not the official rules and requirements like Tkachevs and Gingers that are important here. It's showmanship, creativity, and audience appeal. And we have some tremendous athletes. One who's still in the mainstream and training for Atlanta is Svetlana Boginskaya, who is gold medaled in 2 different Olympics, 1988 and 1992. And she's really known for her dramatic style and artistic approach to the sport, which I really think will help her here today.
All right, Julianne, just 3 rotations for this international event. The women begin on the uneven bars, while the men are on the floor, and then to the balance beam and still rings competition. The women finish on the floor, while the men are at the horizontal bar. Over on the floor now to get us started, Valentin Mogelny from Ukraine. He's 30 years old, won a gold medal at the 1988 Olympics in Korea.
Mogelny.
And he's one of the great gymnasts of his era. He was the world pommel horse champion in 1989. He has many world medals. Married to a world champion, Olga Bisharova.
He will be performing to some Russian folk music.
And Peter, what I want to see is if he actually tumbles in those boots.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. Let's hope he didn't really drink out of that vodka bottle, too.
And there goes the boots.
And this is unusual because men usually don't do floor exercise to music. And here's a round off back handspring, 1 3/4 dive roll with an overcoat.
Now that's the way to come out of a stupor.
Good old neck springs. Now to get the crowd behind it. McGillney was always a great pommel horseman. I said he was the world champion, and it's because of skills like this. Look at those counter-rotating flares on the floor. That's the most agile drunk you've ever seen. Final tumbling pass. Nice double back. Oh, puts his hands down, but that's okay. This is part of the show here.
In a competition like this, it's great because you never really know when it's a mistake and when it's not.
That's a nice way to cover up. This is a great little routine here. Very creative.
Valentin Mogilny and his wife live outside Paris. They coach gymnastics.
And here's those neck springs, and it's kind of difficult to control because he's trying to do it to the beat of the music. Takes quite a bit of power, especially when he's tired after all the other skills he's performed. And once again, here's those flares. He counter-rotates his body, going in the opposite direction of the circle of the flare. Extremely flexible, very extended. His feet do not touch the floor. That's just astounding.
And we'll see if the judges appreciate that difficulty. The marks for Valentin, 9.7, 9.95, 9.9, 9.8 for a total of 39.35. So Mogilny sets a festive tone for us. We'll be back with more from Portland in a moment.
The CBS Sports Show is sponsored by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Remember, there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. Budget car and truck rental. Budget, all the difference in the world. And by Advil. No non-prescription pain reliever is proven to work better than Advil.
Back in Portland, where the clowning around has just begun. You may not recognize her, but yes, that is Christy Phillips. 24 years old, living in New York now to pursue an acting career.
And because of the 3 rules, you can see they can be creative with the equipment, actually adding a little trapeze to the high bar.
You guys may not recognize it. I think you're both a little too young. How about that Woody Woodpecker?
I remember.
I imagine if you've never performed like this, there must be added anxiety. Is my wig going to come off?
Well, it's great to see them use the apparatus as a prop as opposed to just the piece of equipment to do the gymnastic skills on. It's kind of, as Julianne said, part of the whole show.
There's a free hip circle, a nice big giant circle. She's setting up for a release move, a Ganger flip. Very difficult. She actually does a back walkover out. I couldn't tell if that was a calculated move or not.
It's a great cover-up if it wasn't, though. That was really interesting.
And the great part about it is she's just keeping in the character.
Christy has been around for a long time. When she was just 14 years old, she was touted as the new Mary Lou.
A lot of expectation to put on a child, really. And although Christy never made an Olympic team, she did have a very accomplished national and international competitive career.
Now, if they had let her do this, she might have made that Olympic team.
It's great to see her out here. She's having a great time, setting up for a dismount, fly away right down to her back.
That one did look intentional. She stuck that landing in her own special way, I guess you'd say.
Here's that Ganger flip. Watch, this is amazing. She actually releases off the bar into one leg, back walkers off, right to her stomach. And here's the dismount. A flyaway would normally be considered a fall, but it just adds to the flavor of the performance.
And a nice pratfall there. Okay, the marks now for Christy Phillips. 9.85 and 3 9.9s for a total of 39.55. And I'm sure that the gymnasts don't really know what to expect from the judges, so Christy seems happy with that. Up next on the floor, Dmitry Belozerchev with perhaps the most remarkable comeback story in the history of this sport.
With his version of Swan Lake.
In 1983, when Dmitry captured 4 gold and 2 silvers at the World Championships, there was talk he might be the best gymnast ever. But then tragedy struck.
It was in 1985. It was a car accident, and rehabilitation took 2 years to come back because my leg was broken in more than 40 places, and the doctors been thinking about amputate my leg, and they never thought I was gonna be the gymnast again. So I thought, like, if I can walk, then I can run. If I can run, I can jump. If I can jump, I can jump wherever I want to.
And run and jump he did. Shocking his doctors and the world, Dmitry dominated the 87 World Championships and won 3 gold and a bronze at the 88 Olympics. And now, more than 10 years after the accident, Dmitry is still able to compete, and as you can see, he's enjoying it more than ever, Peter.
Yeah, quite a version of Swan Lake here. It's nice to see men doing floor exercise to music, but I can't quite figure out what's under that black cape of his.
Well, I think he's giving it away. 12 World Championship medals in this guy's career. Do you think he ever imagined he'd be out there performing in what appears to be a tutu under the black cape?
Well, what's funny is that he was always a very stoic performer, and on the competition floor, you rarely got a smile out of him. And had I won as many world medals as he did, you couldn't knock the smile off my face. And this is definitely a side of Belozerchev that we've never seen before.
And because he was so serious, I think this is even more meaningful.
Music is Swan Lake, of course.
There's a nice double back. Perfect landing. You know, the biggest fear, of course, after the injury was that he couldn't really tumble at his best. And he really didn't get quite back to the same form that he had before the injury. But he nonetheless did some very good tumbling skills at the subsequent World Championships after the injury.
Dmitry told us that he is still in contact with the doctors that helped put his leg back together. I'm sure that they would love to see him do a routine like this.
Well, isn't it true, Peter, that the Russian athletes actually had a lot of ballet training?
Absolutely, and it really showed in all of his performances, not just on the floor exercise. He's a very, very graceful, artistic gymnast. There's some nice flares to a pirouetting handstand.
He never thought he'd be able to use this training like this, though.
I'm sure he didn't. Possibly one of the best gymnasts we've ever had in the world. And here he is, dressed a little bit differently.
Showing a whole new side of his personality, and certainly not shy about it.
No, that's what's very surprising when you look at him in competition in the earlier years.
In the 1988 Olympics.
And here's before he took off that cape. Looks more like an awkward duck than he does a swan right there. And he was always known for zeroing in on his landings. And here's a double back flip with a perfect landing. Always very good at that.
And let's see how the judges liked this unusual version of Swan Lake. Couple of 9.95s, a 10, and a 9.9 for a total of 39.80 for Dmitry Belozerchev.
And those are the scores he was used to getting in international competition.
And we will be back with more from Portland in a moment, including performances by two-time Olympian Svetlana Boginskaya and the USA's best male gymnast, John Roethlisberger, with a little help from his friends. She dazzled the world in 1988, winning 4 Olympic medals, 2 gold, a silver, and a bronze. But Svetlana Boginskaya was just a kid.
I was little. I was only 15, and I didn't realize at the time, it was so great, and all those medals what I won. But now, I keep thinking and back, and I was thinking, wow, I did this, I won so many Olympics medals, and, I'm proud of myself.
Boginskaya added another gold to her collection in '92. Now at 23, she's made a coaching change, turning to the demanding Bela Karolyi to help push her to one more Olympics.
Yes, the system was a little bit different than I used to be in Russia, but it's a little bit harder than it used to be. Plus, I'm a little bit older. He has to be tough because it's his job to make the gymnast best. So, I have to do what he will say.
I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think Bela Karolyi would enjoy this kind of competition?
I think he would. Being the character that Bella is, I think he would get a kick out of this.
And here's Svetlana now on the uneven bars. She is almost like the Katarina Witt of gymnastics, making a comeback for the pure joy of the sport. She's not really expecting any medals in Atlanta, is she?
Well, don't count her out. She's a tough competitor, and what a presence she has had and a great impact on the sport. Setting up for her mount, she mounts over the low bar, sets up here for a giant full twist, very difficult. Right into a giant half, she'll swing over the low bar.
She's really doing great gymnastics. I mean, she's probably the most fit of the girls here because she's still in the hunt for Atlanta.
Nice high release move, that's called a Tkachev. Here she is.
A bit of gypsy music for Svetlana.
Only Boginskaya could dance on the bars. Here you can see her transition. She actually dismounts off the bar, now dances.
It's nice when you're allowed more than one dismount on even bars because in real competition, if you do more than one, it's a major deduction. Usually those are called crashes.
She has beautiful form. Look at the toe point and the leg extension. Setting up for dismount, tuck, double back, perfect form.
Svetlana Boginskaya showing the style that helped her to win 14 Olympic and World Championship medals.
Here she is playing to the crowd. It's really a lot of fun to see her show her personality. And that would normally be a major deduction.
Might even get her kicked out of a competition.
Look at how tight her legs are in the tuck position.
And that's a dismount that she could be proud of in any kind of competition.
Definitely.
And the scores now for Svetlana. 9.8, another 10 there, 9.95, and a 9.9 for a total of 39.65. He seems happy with that, and faced with the task of judging this unique event, our celebrity panel, 1984 Olympic medalist Kathy Johnson Clark with her husband, actor Brian Patrick Clark. And joining them, 2 other Olympic gymnasts, former world champions Kim Zmeskal and Kurt Thomas. And they certainly have their work cut out for them in Portland. Here are the guidelines. The gymnasts are judged on creativity, showmanship, and audience appeal. And with 3 former gymnasts on the panel, I'm sure that execution will also factor in as well. The gymnasts are rewarded for their efforts, $2,500 to the winners in the individual and all-around competitions. Total purse of $66,000, which includes appearance fees. And that's John Roethlisberger, who comes from a family of gymnasts, including his dad, Fred, a member of the '68 Olympic team.
It was great having him having been an Olympian and my sister also being an Olympian. You know, a lot of kids grow up and it's this far-off dream that seems impossible, but it was everyday life for me. I grew up with 2 Olympians, and it was a great advantage for me. A lot of people think, you know, that's this big pressure on you to also be an Olympian. But I don't look at it that way. I think it was a big plus and a big advantage for me.
And today, it looks like John is feeling no pressure at all. Here he is as Cuban Pete from the movie The Mask.
John did a routine like this last year with a companion, and it was so exciting for the crowd. He decided to, I guess, repeat again with a little Latin twist.
They call me Cuban Pete. I'm the king of the rumba beat. When I play the maracas, I go chick, chicky, boom, chick, chicky, boom.
And here's a nice double back flip. I guess a double front for the girl, so.
Here's a guy who's training for the Olympics. What does it do to his concentration to be out here with, well, something attached to his body that he wouldn't normally have?
Well, he practiced for this, and he's doing real gymnastics, and I think this just helps him to be a better performer, and he's having fun doing it. This is a fun sport for the guys. They're in the gym, they work out every day very hard, but they have fun with gymnastics, and I think this shows a lighter side of what it's like to be in the gym and to have fun flipping around and doing our sport.
And to be a little looser while they're competing, which I think can only enhance their competitive performances.
But so much concentration is required to do some of these difficult moves. I sometimes wonder about how they can concentrate and how they're able to do those moves. I would think it would be very difficult. Have you ever tried it?
No, I've never attached a dummy to my body before, but you know, he's serious about his gymnastics. He's the best gymnast in our country. He has won many national championships, and he knows what he's doing out there, and he's having a lot of fun with it, though. This is great.
John Roethlisberger appealing to a whole new audience. I'll bet a lot of young kids out there enjoying that one. John, the 1995 National All-Around Champion.
John was voted the 1995 Sports
Now we'll take a
Person
look at his
of the
tumbling
Year.
pass
How about a
opening. It
nice
was a
round of
round-off
applause, ladies
back-handspring
and
double back
gentlemen,
flip.
once
As I said, it's,
again, for John
I guess, double front flip
Roethlisberger.
for his companion here.
I'll analyze that side of it.
Okay, thanks, Julianne. And now he's going to set up for a very interesting little, I guess you could call it a body slam for the poor dance partner here. He's going to do that round-off punch straddle jump. Back handspring straddle jump, and ooh, that's got to hurt.
John Roethlisberger, we will likely see him in Atlanta, but not with his buddy. And John scores for the floor routine. 3 10s and a 9.9 for a total of 39.90. Oh, the crowd really loved that one, as they did last year, as you pointed out, Peter. And as the first rotation comes to an end, we welcome in the fourth member of our broadcast team, Wendy Hilliard. She's with Svetlana Boganskaya.
Now, Svetlana, congratulations on winning the uneven bar competition. And you know, you always use a lot of gypsy music. Does that inspire you for your routines?
Yes, it is big time. You know, I love Gypsy King. I like Latin American music because it's dance. It's like, you know, you want to dance, and you know, people. I think, you know, people like it because, you know, everybody like keep moving shoulders and stuff. So.
And it's nice. Something else that you see on the uneven bars is you stop to smile. Who has time to do that when you have an uneven bar routine?
It's routine, you know, and plus it's show. So, you know, you have to, you know, express yourself.
So congratulations and good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Wendy. Svetlana's been living in the U.S. for a couple of years now and has adapted nicely to our strange ways. And speaking of strange, the winner on the floor, John Roethlisberger. We'll be back with the second rotation after this message and a word from your local station. Welcome back to the Rose Garden and the 1996 Reese's International Gymnastics Cup. And in the second rotation, the women will be on the beam. It'll be the still rings for the men. Here's Scott Keswick in his first competition since a serious back injury a year ago. We asked him what was toughest.
It was the inability to rehabilitate. after I had surgery, they put me in a full brace, and I couldn't do anything. For the first month, I was allowed to sit up for 15 minutes at a time, and that's it. I had to lay down, and I've never been inactive in my life. I mean, I was 3 sports, you know, gymnastics, baseball, soccer, everything, you name it, and I'd play it. You know, active, went through college and trained and competed internationally full-time. I've never been not busy in my life, and that was the hardest part. But it's also the best part, too. I got a lot of time to myself, a lot of time to think about why I was doing gymnastics, what I still wanted to achieve.
He has already achieved quite a bit. 4-time national champion on still rings, the only gymnast ever to accomplish that, and probably the only gymnast ever to perform as Mickey Mouse.
And this is no Mickey Mouse road to recovery either. That was major back surgery that he had. And this actually, in spite of the lightness of this event, it's important for him to get out there in front of a crowd and to do gymnastics. It's good that Scott gets to do this on rings because it is his best event, and he said that it really does not hurt his back to swing rings. So it's good for him to get out in front of the crowd now.
I would think this is a good kind of a competition to ease your way back in. There's really no pressure.
Right. If you make a mistake, you dance out of it. Well, in fact, his ears just fell off, so. There's a nice Maltese. Over to Adelchev. Gets his feet caught behind his arms in the rings. There's a nice little hollow back press to a handstand. Always very strong on rings. Scott sets up for just about half in, half out. Not bad. Doing well there.
Scott's training for Atlanta. How do you like his chances, Peter?
Well, I'm sure he'd like to go beyond where he was before the injury, but if he just gets back to where he was, he should make the team. It's not going to be easy, but he's got a great chance.
Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Keswick.
Must be relieved to get that first routine in his first competition back over with.
And here's his mount. He does a back kip right to an L cross, and it's so difficult, sometimes it can even make your ears fall off.
But he still has his tail, Peter.
He does, yes.
To go through the costume checklist after this competition.
This is called Adelchev, named after the Bulgarian gymnast that did it first.
And the marks now for Scott Keswick.
9.75.
3 9.75s and a 9.85. Total of 39.10. Over on the beam now, Svetlana Boginskaya. She placed first on the balance beam at this competition last year.
And I think what Boginskaya has brought to the sport is highlighted in this event. In an era where gymnastics has been power and acrobatics, she has still kept a presence of drama and artistry in the sport that I think is so important. The beautiful arm movements.
This really is the perfect event for her to perform on an event like this.
She dances right into her mount. And that balance beam is still only 4 inches wide, 4 feet off the ground. Here's her big move, back handspring, 2 laid out backflips. Just a tiny bobble, very difficult.
What about the lighting, Julianne? This is not normal competition lighting, it's really show lighting.
No, it's not, and it definitely adds a new element. I had a chance to talk to some of the performers, and they said it definitely has an effect. You can't see the equipment at times.
And yet the producers of the show actually met with the gymnasts well before the competition to go over each of their routines and what they'd be doing so that the lighting would be appropriate, not only from the audience standpoint, but also for the gymnasts, so they wouldn't get blinded by the lights.
Well, it adds so much in terms of entertainment value, I think, for the crowd.
Three flip-flops right to a laid-out dismount, but this time she keeps on going. Remounts the balance beam. A gorgeous performance by Svetlana Boginskaya.
Ladies and gentlemen, Svetlana Boginskaya.
Svetlana competed as a figure skater when she was young, and you could almost imagine her out on the ice.
And Martha Caroli.
Beautiful. Here's that difficult tumbling pass. 2 laid out step out. You can see she has to stay completely square over the balance beam. And here's a very difficult 3 consecutive back handsprings. Continues into a laid out backflip.
We are really getting a variety of performances here in Portland. The scores for Svetlana, 3.99s and a 9.95, 39.65 for Svetlana Boginskaya.
And she even impressed her former arch rival, one of the judges, Kim Zemeskal.
All right, let's go backstage now where Wendy caught up with Scott Keswick.
Scott, I really like the Mickey Mouse motif, but you lost your ears.
I can't believe it. I did it in training and they didn't come off. I don't know. I must have tried a little harder in the competition and I just jerked them off. I don't know. It's disappointing, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, it was a great routine, and I think we really want to know, you had a serious injury last year, so this is your first competition. How did it feel to get out on the floor again?
It was great. I haven't been out in the crowd since a year ago. This competition last year was my last competition. And so to get out in front of the crowd and do some routines and not have a lot of pressure on me, it was a great experience for my road to Atlanta, definitely.
And how's your back feeling?
It's doing great.
Well, we wish you good luck as you keep going. Thanks a lot, Scott.
All right, thanks, Wendy.
And still to come from Portland, Christy Phillips resurrects the 60s on the balance beam. And we'll see Dmitry Bilozerchev as he explores his inner child.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, back to the
Back
show
in
ring.
Portland, it
And
appears
let's welcome
Dmitry Bilozerchev is truly a kid at heart. He is up next on the rings.
Little chipmunk music. Wonder when he's going to get rid of those balloons.
Maybe he'll take him with him to the rings.
Yeah. Give him to the judge. Oh, tease the judge. There we go.
Dmitry coaches girls gymnastics in Florida, and I would say they might have helped him with that costume, at least loaned him the socks.
Yes. Finally, he goes up to the rings. Let's see what he does here. There's a kip to an L, and that's the strongest baby I've ever seen. That was a planche press to handstand lower to an inverted cross. And there's a planche. Bails to, whoa, look at, he put his foot right through the ring. Really surprised the crowd there. And there's a shoot to handstand. This is a long routine. This guy's in great shape.
New energy from all of these costumes. The tutu earlier, and
yes,
the baby costume now.
And again, so out of character for his personality. It's great to see.
Yeah, this is a great avenue for these guys to come out of retirement or stick around the sport a little bit longer.
I think it's a little liberating also.
Obviously,
certainly doesn't look inhibited.
That's for sure for Bilozerchev.
Well, it's nice to see him enjoying himself out there, and the crowd did as well.
Is the winner of
Let's see, this is an inverted cross where he lowers to a plunge. This is where he threads his foot through the rings. I wonder how often he missed that before he got it down right, because could be an awkward landing there. Here's his dismount, which is a half in, half out. It's a full twisting double back. He's in great shape.
And the scores now for Dimitri. Wow, how about that? A couple of 10s, a couple of 9.95s, total of 39.90. Can't do much better than that, and the crowd agrees with the judges on that high score. Over on the balance beam now, here's Christy Phillips. This is indeed a bizarre competition. You saw her earlier as Woody Woodpecker, now a flashback to the 60s.
And those of you who remember Christy Phillips as a competitor, you will really see an incredible maturity as a performer and as a dancer.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there.
She's really using the movements to tell a story.
I got to beware. I think it's time we stop.
And watch this mount. This is incredible. Laid out backflip right onto the balance beam. Extremely difficult because you don't see the balance beam until you complete the flip. Setting up for round off, back handspring, very well done. Christy's always been known for her flexibility, especially in her back. You can see the great back flexibility. And there's a version of her move, the Phillips. Her boyfriend, Hutch Bannister, actually wrote the song that she's performing to here.
I mentioned earlier, Christy is in New York pursuing an acting career, and you can see that she really has some performing skills.
And she's bringing that to her performances here. She's using the equipment and using the dance, collaborating with the routine with some great gymnastics.
These are really some original moves on a balance beam. And I think that's what the organizers of these kind of competitions like to see, is an innovative use of the apparatus.
There's a beautiful double switch leap. She goes right into a flip-flop, swings down to the balance beam, and a beautiful ending using that flexibility again.
That's Christy Phillips.
An impressive routine from Christy Phillips, beautifully done.
And she's been out of international competition for years, and Julianne, she really looks great.
She does, and she's having a great time. Look at this mount, very gentle. She round-offs onto the board, makes a full flip onto the balance beam. And here's what's called a fish flop. You can guess why. And right here, she grabs her foot, smiling all the while.
Well, you mentioned that flexibility. And the scores now for Christy Phillips' balance beam routine. Wow, look at that, 10s across the board, a perfect score of 40 for Christy Phillips. Well, she remembers what that was like to score like that.
Hey, some things never change. The feeling of scoring a perfect 10 is the ultimate for a gymnast. What a way for her to come back into the limelight.
And we'll be back with more in a moment. Back in Portland, here's another look at Christy Phillips' perfect balance beam performance.
Professional gymnastics has never really taken off, but with a routine like this, you can really see the potential there.
Christy wins the event. She's backstage with Wendy.
Christy, a perfect score. How's that feeling to you?
It feels wonderful. I'm so excited. I'm having the best time of my life. This is right up my alley. I love to perform. It's what I miss most about the sports. I'm glad they could bring it back.
It's great to have this kind of opportunity to perform. Now, where did you get this idea? That was a really very interesting motif.
Well, I have a wonderful boyfriend who is in a band, and most of my music has come from his songs. He'll be the next, Eddie Vedder, hopefully. He's working really hard at it.
Well, congratulations on such a wonderful score, and you've been doing some great stuff. It's good to see you out there.
All right, thanks, Wendy. And up next on the still rings, Paul O'Neill, the silver medalist in this event at the 1994 World Championships.
And Paul is a specialist. He only does rings in major competitions. And so at the NCAAs, the highest you can go is the NCAA championship as a specialist. But now we have the World Individual Apparatus Championships, and Paul won a medal there, won the silver medal, and it's really been a great incentive for him to stay in the sport.
He is the Iron Man. If you have a 6-year-old at home, as I do, you know that. We have the action figure. But this guy does better tricks than the one we have.
I'll tell you. I say pound for pound, Paul is probably one of the strongest people in the world, and you'll see this when he gets up on the rings.
He seems like he has the perfect physique for rings, like he was made to do rings.
Tremendous shoulder strength, and his legs aren't huge, and so he's got great leverage when he performs these skills.
And great teeth.
Here we go. Look at that. That's an inverted cross. It's totally level. That is so difficult.
It's unbelievable.
That's a Maltese cross, very wide, very difficult. Presses up to a flange. Shoots to handstand. Just rock solid here. Oh, lowers down through the Maltese. He's got an incredible iron cross sequence. Here he goes. That's called an Olympic cross. He pulls out, down to another Olympic cross, pulls out, down to a regular cross. Look at this. Oh, and he crosses his legs. Great. Mock the guys that can't do it that well. Just makes me feel real good. Boy. This is a very long routine. I assume he's going to get ready for a dismount finally. There it is. Double back flip. Not a bad landing when you got a mask on your head.
Well, he is the Iron Man. A very strong performance by Paul O'Neill. He's the defending champion in rings at this very competition, won it last year.
And that was an awesome display of strength. That was a Maltese cross pressing up to a flange. And look at this iron cross sequence. He's going to lower down to a series of different iron crosses, going through the inverted cross to the Maltese cross, down to an Olympic cross. So you face one way, pulls out to another one, pulls out, and lowers down to a cross, and then just stays there, just for the fun of it. He's probably smiling underneath that mask, too.
Paul is also an internationally rated judge, and we will find out now what our judges thought of that routine. Well, they loved it. 3 10s for Paul O'Neill, 39.95. And he is psyched about that.
And he was such a crowd pleaser at last year's event. He was Spider-Man in the rings, and I think this is why he was invited back. The crowd loves him.
And that routine was good enough to capture the still rings competition. Paul O'Neill joins Christy Phillips as the winners in the second rotation. Wendy spoke with him backstage.
We are here with the man. That's right, we want to see the face of the rings champion. Great job, Paul.
Well, thank you. That was a lot of strength.
A lot of strength, and not only, you're known for your costumes usually, but you were jamming to some of that music, little Ozzy Osbourne, Little Queen.
Yeah, that's some good music. I like that stuff. It's always fun.
Does it help keep you going when you're doing a ring routine? It's not easy to put that routine to music.
Oh no, during those beats, I'm like, okay, 1, 2, there's another beat. Okay, go. So it was hard.
Well, you couldn't see all that with the mask on, but it was a great routine.
It's a trick. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Paul.
Still to come, Chris Waller says, riddle me this, riddle me that on the high bar after this message and a word from your local station. Back in Portland, Oregon at the Rose Garden, Andrea Joyce along with Julianne McNamara and Peter Vidmar. Boy, who wound these guys up? No holding back.
No, there really isn't. And once again, when you watch them in regular competitions, they're so serious. And it is a very serious event when you're in something like the Olympics. But now, it seems that these guys are just saying, hey, we love the sport. We're going to show you how much fun we have. And we can create some things that are just as exciting as other people in other venues and other sports.
I think, though, that if any one gymnast has captured the spirit of this competition, though, Julianne, it has to be Christy Phillips with that balance beam routine. Was just spectacular.
I think she really epitomized what this event is all about. She had the perfect blend of the theatrical side, the showmanship, with really great gymnastics, and also using the apparatus in a different way, actually performing with the balance beam and doing moves that you would never normally see, never would be allowed.
And more surprises coming up, I'm sure, in this third rotation. Women on the floor, the men move to the horizontal bar. And here's a bird's eye view of the floor mat. The spotlight is on a bag on the floor, and we think Christy Phillips is in the bag. We should say that literally, not in any other way.
Oh, that's no bag lady.
She gets ready for her first tumbling run in her genie costume. Setting up for round off, back handspring. Uh-oh.
Whoa.
That was a double twist. It's amazing. Her pants got in the way, but she kept going through with it. She didn't bail out of it.
I think those pants were probably going to come off at some point, but not in the middle of a tumbling run.
No way.
Once again, Christy incorporating a couple of different themes in her routine, using music from I Dream of Jeannie along with some music from her boyfriend's group.
The floor exercise is the best event to really show off the theatrical side and what this event is all about. And again, combining those theatrics with good gymnastics. Here's a nice laid out full twist, stepping out of it makes it more difficult. And there you can see she actually flip-flops off of her knees. And actually in normal competition, you really aren't even allowed to have lyrics to the music.
Well, this event is much improved from a production standpoint than last year, so it'll be exciting to see how this type of gymnastics events matures in the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, the dreamy Christy Phillips.
And that'll do it for Christy Phillips. Boy, Barbara Eden never quite mastered those kinds of moves, I don't think.
Ladies and gentlemen, Christy is working towards an acting career.
Let's see what happened on this first tumbling run. You can see the pants falling off already on the run. I'll tell you, it's amazing that she could pull that around as well as she did. It's a double twist, 2 twists in the air on 1 flip. And here's her second tumbling run, a nice high, 1 twist in the air as she steps out of it.
Well, this will be a new one for the judges. How much of a deduction do you get for losing your pants?
For Christy on floor exercise.
The marks for Christy Phillips, 3 9.85s and a 9.70 for a total of 39.25. Not sure what to expect on that one. And here we see what Christy thinks of that costume. Goes right in the trash. We're going to move over now to the horizontal bar and the trickster himself, Chris Waller, as the Riddler, 3-time national champion on the pommel horse. This is something we haven't seen yet, someone using the entire arena.
I talked to Chris before the event, and he said he had tried to practice looking as gangly and skinny as Jim Carrey in The Riddler, but his shoulders are about twice as broad. It just doesn't work. And you'll never see Jim Carrey do that. Now, what do we have here? Ah, straight from the movie. Let's see if he can influence the judges, maybe.
Stimulating neurons, manipulating brain waves, if you will. This device makes the audience feel like they're inside the show.
Right on Kathy Johnson Clark. There we go. Let's see if she'll give him a 10 just because of that.
She kind of had a why me look on her face.
Now this is horizontal bar. He hasn't got there yet, but eventually he'll get there. Let's see what happens now.
Chris must just be having a great time because he's always been a very emotional performer.
Probably one of the most artistic gymnasts we've ever had. He really tries to perform well. He looks good out there, always aware of not just the skills he's doing, but how he looks doing the skills. And he's a great high bar man, so let's watch him do this. Nice one-arm sequence. Look at that. Stalled her. He does a number of release moves in normal competition. Let's see what he does with his outfit on here. There's a nice Tkachev, legs together. Setting up for another Tkachev. Right into a Ganger, flyaway half turn. This is state-of-the-art gymnastics here. Now let's see what happens. Pirouette over the bar. Here he goes. Winding up for a dismount. It's a double dizzy double backflip. Not a bad landing.
And look at that, still in character. It's amazing to me to see how these guys are staying in character. And it looks like he's going to go out the same way he arrived.
And he's done. There we go. Nicely done.
Gentlemen, Chris Waller.
Now, he did do some very good gymnastics, actually. His release moves were quite
Chris
spectacular.
Is a 1991 graduate from
right here, he
UCLA,
does a reverse hack. It's called a Tkachev.
Board of Directors.
Back over the bar,
As an
right into a
athlete
Ganger, a flyaway half-turn catch. And his dismount is called a double-double. That means 2 flips and 2 twists. Been doing that for years. Never really has a problem with it. Danced right out of the landing. It's good his mask stayed in place.
Chris joined now by his family. That's daughter Alexandra. She's a year old, and his wife.
Chris Waller on high bar.
And the marks for Chris Waller. Wow, look at that. Another perfect performance. 10s across the board.
And 10.0 for a perfect 40. Ladies and gentlemen, deserves a standing ovation, Chris Waller.
And Chris has a great chance of making the Olympic team only if his ankles get better. He's had some problems with his ankles. He does great high bar, parallel bars, pommel horse rings, but he's got to take care of his foot. And depending on how that goes, then he'll be in the hunt for Atlanta.
We'll be back in a moment. Some highlights now from Chris Waller's perfect high bar performance.
And this isn't the kind of thing you'd try to do in normal competition, but especially when you're trying to influence the judges that way.
Oh,
but
he might have done the trick there. Wendy caught up with Chris backstage.
I tell you, Chris, 4 10s, that is no joke.
I am so psyched. I've never got a 10 before. The routine was just a blast from the start to finish. And it was really fun being up in the crowd, interacting with the little kids and stuff. It couldn't have been better. I'm really happy. Plus, I got roses.
But besides that, you did some great gymnastics. All those release moves. How'd you do that with that mask on?
Well, I practiced my gymnastics. See, I close my eyes like this, and I hope for the best and put my arms out, and all that practice paid off.
It really paid off, but I think what else paid off is that you have a little inspiration. Let's bring them on out. Come on.
Sure.
We have Cindy and Alexandra. Come on.
My wife, Cindy, who's also my choreographer and coach, and here's my personal trainer.
Sprayer.
And hair sprayer. And here's my personal trainer, Alexandra. She's 1 year old, She turned 1 January 4th.
Congratulations to Chris
you.
and Sandy. Great job.
Great looking family as well, although I'm not quite so sure about that red hair. We move back now to the floor under the mask. Missy Marlowe, member of the 1988 Olympic team, and she followed that up with a spectacular collegiate career at the University of Utah.
Here with her interpretation of The Phantom. Missy's a very powerful gymnast. Look at the height in her leaps. Nice jump combination.
I think these guys have to rethink some of these costumes, though. I guess you don't really know until you get out there because they have so little experience performing in these get-ups.
I'm sure there's a lot of experimentation and practice with these costumes. Beautiful high pike double back.
What's great to see is all of these gymnasts here who have been out of the sport for some of them for many years have kept themselves in fantastic physical condition.
Well, in figure skating, a lot of the athletes have been able to continue careers in their sports long after their Olympic competitions through professional skating, and that's really what this sport needs. They want to have a vehicle for the gymnasts to do that.
Nice job by Missy Marlowe.
Ladies and gentlemen, Missy
She was the 1992
Marlowe.
Broderick Cup winner. That's awarded to the top female athlete, collegiate athlete in the country.
Gymnasts are rewarded for leaping combinations like this.
No matter how skilled you are, though, in a competition like this one, you do have unforeseen problems. Not exactly the dramatic effect she was probably hoping for, but she did follow it up with some great gymnastics.
And she sure did. Here's a very difficult double back in a pike position, keeping her legs straight.
Missy said she felt she might be a little too old to compete in events like this one, but I don't think so, and the judges don't think so either. 3.99 to the 9.95 for a total of 39.65 for Missy Marlowe.
For a total score of 39.65.
She does look a little relieved, though, to have that over. All right, back over to the high bar now. Bill Roth will be up next. Looking like a mild-mannered reporter, he is, in fact, a triple medalist from the 1995 Pan Am Games.
And Bill's kind of a character on the national team. He's got a lot of personality. He's not afraid to show it. And this event is really perfect for him. Here he is as Clark Kent.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Superman!
Bill's had a number of injuries over the years, and he's had to deal with them, and he's been able to get himself back in shape where he's at the point where he could make this Olympic team this summer. He's a very exciting gymnast to watch, does really high-level skills. I don't know how he's going to do it with the cape, though. Oh, he's got a fly first. There we go. And now the cape comes off where he gets a chance to do some real flying without a Superman cape.
I think he might have watched some of the other gymnasts and the problems they had with those capes and said, I'm losing mine early.
Now, those thick mats there are there for a reason. He does one of the most difficult skills in gymnastics. It's named after Mitch Gaylord, the Gaylord flip. There's a full turn over the bar. Here he goes. He winds up for a 1.5 somersault in the pike position over the high bar, catches on the other side of the bar. Nicely done. There's some inverted giants. Takes tremendous shoulder flexibility. A double layout dismount. Now, you don't have to finish the routine with a dismount. You can get right back up there and do more gymnastics. That's exactly what Bill's doing. For the illusion of flight with a hex dismount there.
All right, let's hear it for the good guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, the superhuman, Bill.
He did look a little superhuman out there with his flying. And
here's the first one as he keeps his cape on with a little flying imitation. fortunately.
I'm not sure that Superman was ever that graceful. I'm not sure that Superman ever looked that terrific in the air.
Now here's that Gaylord flip right over the bar, very, very high. Does it as good as anybody in the world. Stoops into what's called inverted giants. Almost got stuck on the top there. Now he does one more illusion of flying as he does his Hecht dismount. Right up and over the bar. It's nice to be able to not worry about your landings, too, in an event like this, as he bounced out of it.
Bill Roth waiting now for his marks. Couple of 9.95s, couple of 9.9s for 39.70. A great effort by Superman. And coming up, a couple of super women from the 1988 Olympic team, Hope Spivey Sheely and the two faces of Brandy Johnson.
The CBS Sports Show is sponsored by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Remember, there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. And by McDonald's, official break of the Olympic Games.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, for
Well, it's gotten a little eerie here at the Rose Garden. That's Hope Spivey Sheely. After the '88 Olympics, she went on to the University of Georgia and became a four-time NCAA champion. And if you remember those NCAA competitions, you will certainly remember her husband, Dale. He looks a little different here, but that is Dale behind the Frankenstein mask. He's always been Hope's biggest supporter and biggest fan, and now he's part of the act.
And she has adapted her winning performance into a Frankenstein theme. They told me they spent about 4 hours re-editing her music for her dramatic entrance.
And she's alive.
She is always electrifying. Watch this. Front, right through to a tuck double back. Just a couple steps on the landing, but a powerful run.
Again, in a normal competition, stepping out of the blue carpet would be a deduction, but probably not here.
Nope.
There's definitely no boundaries in this event.
Another nice tuck double back, this time a perfect landing. Watch this, press, rewind. Nice high laid out backflip. A wonderful performance.
Hope scored 27 perfect 10s in NCAA competition in her years at Georgia. She was a member of the 1993 National Championship team and has not lost that look of a champion. It's a hug and a kiss from husband Dale.
That is true love. Do you see his face?
Now they have this down pat. You would think that they have a lot of practice. Talk about smooth moves.
And Hope has always been known for the height of her tumbling. There's a nice high laid out backflip.
Spectacular tumbling, great theater. Wow, look at this, 10s all the way across the board. And Dale gets his first perfect score. Now he knows what it feels like. The third perfect performance of the competition here in Portland.
Well, the quality of the performances and the creativity of the gymnasts, the improved lighting has really made this event much improved over last year. And I think that the gymnastics community is really embracing this as a great entertainment venue for families.
Well, that's a hard act to follow, but Brandy Johnson will make the effort. She was an Olympic teammate of Hope's in 1988, the highest U.S. female gymnast finisher that year, 10th in the all-around competition. We are ready for a little tango action with Brandy Johnson.
Maybe her and John Roethlisberger can team up for a dual floor X.
Well, now, I don't know, Juliana. Should I cover? You want me to cover this event when he's facing me, and you cover the performances when she's facing you? I don't know how it works on this.
And once again, we have a very powerful gymnast in Brandy Johnson.
It's certainly the tumbling, the leg events, floor exercise, vault have always been her real strong points.
She's setting up here now for her first tumbling run. A tucked double back flip. You can see she skies that. She's really matured in her dance movements. Bigger movements, more graceful arms. There's a nice split leap right through a layout step out. A little shoulder movement there.
Now this is a little bit more pure gymnastics, less of the theater than we saw from Hope, for example. But the costume sure does have quite an effect.
Wonder if she got it half price.
There's a nice round off split jump.
Nice job by Brandy Johnson. Boy, she has really been busy the last couple of years, participates in clinics, camps, exhibitions. She has even performed as a stunt woman for the movies, and I guess those tricks do come in handy.
Here's the good gymnastics. A nice high tuck double back, great positioning of her legs. And a combination dance, tumbling with a split leap right through to a layout step out.
Brandy Johnson waiting for her scores now from the judges, and there they are, a couple of 9.95s and a couple of 9.9s for a total of 39.70. An impressive job by Brandy Johnson, not quite enough to catch Hope Spivey Sheely, who has won the floor event. She's with Wendy Hilliard.
Hope and Dale, her husband Dale, tell us about the costumes and the choreography for this routine.
Well, it was kind of interesting because part of the floor music from, I guess, after we did all of the funky stuff, was from my senior year in college. And Russell Warfield choreographed it, and he's done all of our Georgia gymnastics routines. And we just said the rewind would be great for the crowd. And so we just put some stuff in it to kind of make it Frankenstein. I mean, it just was just really interesting.
Well, I tell you, with all that costume and all the choreography, though, a 10 is a 10, and you got 4 of them.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I should be happy about that because I trained real hard and just a lot of thought went into it, and it was great.
It was great, and also joining Hope on the winner's platform from the third rotation, Chris Waller. And wrapping it up, Christy Phillips was the top all-around competitor for the women. She wins a total of $8,500. Brandy Johnson came in second, followed by Missy Marlowe. For the men, it was Dmitry Bilozerchev taking the all-around honors and taking home $6,500. John Roethlisberger was second. Chris Waller came in third. Our congratulations to all the winners. It was a delightfully entertaining show. So for Pierre Vidmar, Julianne McNamara, and Wendy Hilliard, I'm Andrea Joyce saying so long from Portland.
Coming up next on CBS Sports, the RCA Player of the Year Award Show. Then, the Final Four show with features and all the breaking news. The first game, Mississippi State and Syracuse. Then, Kentucky battles Massachusetts.